In recent years, people have increasingly started to talk about sharing things. Bike sharing, car sharing, or even sharing an apartment with others. The sharing economy is everywhere around us. But are these new business models changing the way we interact with each other? Meet Emma, who wants to explore what concepts really lie behind the sharing economy. So let's dive in and find out. The exchange between buyers and sellers traditionally involved the permanent transfer of ownership from one person to another. But let's be real, most of the things we own are used no more than once a month. Yet the digital revolution has enabled buyers and sellers to exchange offerings in a different way, by sharing goods more efficiently between many people. Because how can one extract more value from different assets? Right, by sharing them, rather than them being owned by a single person. Sounds like a cool idea, right? In order to understand the concept better, let us define what the term sharing economy really means and what concepts it entails. The sharing economy is an economic system in which assets are shared between private individuals, either for free or for a fee, typically by means of the internet. Yet, most things in life don't come for free, and that's why also in the sharing economy you find different mechanisms of how things are being shared. There are 3 exchange mechanisms which can be used in the sharing economy: gift giving, reciprocity, and monetary exchange. To get the hang of it, let us compare 2 well-known sharing platforms on which you can share an accommodation. On the first platform, Couchsurfing, sharing is based on social norms of gift-giving and reciprocity. People can spend the night at someone's home for free, as well as offering their own space for other couchsurfers to use. Another way to share an accommodation is through the platform Airbnb. Their concept relies on monetary exchange and market pricing mechanisms. While using Airbnb, guests have to pay a fee for staying at a private or shared apartment. In its origin, sharing is linked to human history and basically meant sharing something with your family or friends. But now, even if there's a monetary transaction taking place, we call it car sharing, bike sharing, and so on. If we consider the real terminology of sharing, which is the joint use of resources or the process of providing and distributing, it creates a conflict between the different models. Belk is a big critique and argues that the sharing economy is more a renting economy. It is just much easier to do it on a peer-to-peer based platform. To him, it has nothing to do with sharing, as it is not a social interaction between people who want to help each other. Bell's critique can be made clear by a thought experiment. Imagine having a flat where you only stay during the week. During the weekends, you offer that same apartment at Airbnb for €30 a night. One day, your friend asks if she could stay in your flat for a weekend, as she is planning to go to a concert that takes place nearby. When you think about sharing your flat with her for the weekend, would you charge her €30? Or would you share your flat with your friend for free? For most of us, it would probably feel strange to charge a friend to stay in our apartment. So, why are these business models that actually offer an identical service so different? This conflict can be explained by the social exchange theory. As the table shows, a mismatch can occur if economic transactions take place in social relationships, such as paying a friend to stay at their apartment. Looking at this possible mismatch, some questions regarding the sharing economy arise. What happens if a person expects to have a social interaction, but then market mechanisms are applied? Does such a conflict reduce the willingness to participate in the sharing economy? In order to answer this question, the motives people have to participate in the sharing economy have to be considered. These motives can either be of economic, social, or environmental and moral nature. By conducting focus interviews, it was soon clear that economic motives were predominating, followed by social motives. Interestingly, environmental or moral motives were mentioned to be the least important to people. Which motives are addressed also depends on the consumption context or the service that is being used. Utilitarian consumption focuses on the functional aspects of products and services and aims to solve practical problems such as wanting to rent an apartment via Airbnb for some time. In such contexts, economic motives are addressed and people prefer monetary exchange mechanisms. Hedonic contexts, such as couch surfing, are sensation-driven and provide consumers with multisensory and emotive experiences. Therefore, primary social motives are addressed and people prefer social exchange mechanisms, such as gift-giving and reciprocity. These assumptions were to be tested in a scenario experiment, where 427 individuals were randomly assigned to one of the four conditions: monetary versus social exchange mechanism, and hedonic versus utilitarian service, and asked to fill out an online questionnaire. For the first two conditions, a dinner sharing scenario was set up, thus representing a hedonic service. One half was offered $15. The other half was given a free offer, which is only based on helping and sharing. The other two scenarios were related to ride sharing, which represents the utilitarian service context. Again, the offer was presented to some attendees for $15 and others as a free activity. After the participants read the scenarios and the questionnaires, they were introduced to their potential host or driver and were asked to report their willingness to participate in the respective offer they were introduced to. The results show that a match between exchange mechanism and consumption and service context are an important determinant of the willingness to participate in the sharing economy. People might try to avoid situations of mismatches between exchange mechanism and consumption or service context, for example, by reducing their willingness to participate. Managers should be aware that there has to be a match between the type of exchange mechanism and type of consumption and service context. Otherwise, a decreased willingness to participate in a newly developed business model can occur. Now Emma has a better idea what concepts are being used in the sharing economy and feels more comfortable understanding the different mechanisms that are being used.